Welcome to North Georgia Business Radio. I'm your host, Bo Henderson, here with Dr. Bill Lampton. And Bill, you know, I was thinking about this several years back when I was dating Tabitha early on. She called me, and she was living in apartments across town, and she said, there's an emergency. You've got to get over here now. I was like, what is it? She said, just get over here. So I flew across town, right 15 minutes across town, and I got there, and there was a solo cup in the middle of the bathroom floor. And what I found out, the huge emergency was she had a cockroach that she had trapped under that, but she was scared to pick it up. So to her, that pest was a big issue. That cockroach was a big issue. And that story just reminded me of, hey, we got the perfect guest for that today, all right?
Yes, we do. And I remember many years ago, my wife, Sandra, called me to get back to the house quickly from my place of business. I got back to the house, and like you, I wondered what the heck the emergency was. And the emergency was that there was a spider in the house. So I had to make sure that I got the spider out of the house.
So I think the point here, right, is bugs and pests. We need some solutions. This is a big deal to a lot of people, to most people. And today we got Ron Combs with us with Combs Pest Control. How's it going, Ron?
Afternoon, guys. How are y'all?
Good. So have you heard those stories before about the one little bug and somebody's just flipping out?
Not that I heard them, I live them. I don't spray my house on a regular basis like I should. I hear those stories on a bi-weekly basis or so.
Right. Well, tell us about kind of the big overview of Combs Pest Control and what people need to know about it.
We've been around since 2002. I've been in the industry since 1994. Started my own business 2002, and really been trying to provide that extra level of service, that premium level of service, if you will. For years and years, just did pest control and termites, was happy doing that. Resisted the urge to get into other branches of the industry, if you will. This year, decided to pull the trigger on a couple different things. We're doing bed bugs, we're doing wildlife control, and it's really starting to take off. It's already been a month, obviously, into this year. Already starting to take off pretty well.
What kind of wildlife do you deal with?
I like to say, before I started doing wildlife, my tagline was, if it's got more than 4 legs, we can kill it. Now I'll say, if it's got 4 legs or less, we can trap it, get out of your house. Pretty much anything, Dr. Bill. I mean, skunks, possums, squirrels. We've got a guy working on a bat jar right now, getting bats and the bat feces out of the attic. So it's one of those glamorous things we like to do.
Yeah, I knew a guy one time who had a skunk in his basement, and that's not a very good scene.
It's not. I've had moles in my backyard digging holes. My dogs have dug the moles up out of the holes and play with them until they stop squeaking. But skunks are probably the worst as far as, obviously, the odor of them. But you'd be amazed at some of the things we get called out for.
And that stays around a while, too.
Until you wash it several times. I think lemon juice is one of the old wives' tales cures for it.
Well, Ron, I want to take a minute before we go on and congratulate you. We just heard Combs Pest Control won Best of Hall County.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Worked hard for that. It was really a huge honor for us. I think Duncan, the largest local company we have around, has won it for the last 10 or 12 years in a row.
Oh, nice.
We finally, of course, with their thousands of customers, we had to work real hard and get our customers to vote time after time.
All right.
But it's a huge honor for us. We really tickled with us. Thank you.
Well, good. I appreciate the work you're doing, because you're right. You're having to gauge that base of clients to come out, to show up. But so one of the things that we've talked before that I love that I think is valuable to listeners is, you know, I don't think when you're dealing with what you're dealing with, it's always a retroactive deal.
Right.
Let's deal with it after the fact. Now,
right.
That's probably what most people do, would be
most
my
of
guess.
them, yeah.
How do we do things to be proactive to maybe prevent those roaches or other things from showing up in the first place?
A lot of what I do on a regular basis, Bo, Dr. Bill, is proactive. I preach all the time having a good plan in place, because once the bugs get in, it takes a long time to get them out. I tell folks all the time, it takes me as long to get rid of the problem as it took for you to get the problem. And sometimes it's 6 to 8 months or longer. So I prefer not to take that long. It kind of damages my reputation, hurts my feelings a little bit.
Right.
To take more than a few weeks to get rid of a problem. So to be proactive with most insects, a good exterior treatment, treating eaves, foundation, all those sort of things, anywhere a bug can get in the house is the best way to go. That's what I do on a daily basis, every single day of my life. I do that for your house, Bo. Keep most of the bugs out. It's not going to take care of 100% of them. Never will.
Right.
But if you knock the population down 80 or 90%, most folks are pretty happy with that. I'm always on call for that 10% that slip past.
Well, we talk a lot here about local business. This is North Georgia's local business resource that we like to let other people in the community know who's out there.
Right.
What are they about? not just to get rid of my bugs or whatever who's the person behind it. So let's talk a little bit. You were sharing, Ron, that there's some other companies out there. You look up pest control.
There are 30 plus companies in
lot.
Hall County. When I started the business in 2002, my research said there's 26.
Okay.
Of course, that was about 18 years ago. I don't even know what the number is now. I'm sure it's 35 plus, because a lot of folks from Athens are coming this way. The Atlanta folks coming this way. I see new companies pop up every day with their trucks in this area. But what you get with those folks, a lot of times, the larger companies, is a technician's been on the job for 6 months or less.
Right.
I've trained a lot of those technicians. I've been through the training. I've been doing this for 26 years. That's all I know how to do. People ask me sometimes, what's the best part of your job? That's all I know how to do.
Right.
I've been doing this since I was 27 years old. I love doing it. So when you call Combs Pest Control, you get 26 years experience. It's not a whole heck of a lot I haven't seen in 26 years. If it's something I haven't seen, I've got resources I can call on. Folks that trained me and managed me in previous jobs, I can call on them for their expertise. I've got the director of development for Orkin for years ago. His son is a dear friend of mine. I can call Paul Hardy at any point in time. So I've got resources besides my knowledge,
right?
Resources at my disposal I can get answers for.
Well, and let's talk a little bit too about this idea. Somebody might have just gone through the training process and be some new person you don't know on your property. Let's talk about who's going to show up and having that relationship and being that, hey, if Ron doesn't show up, I know where to find him actually. So
that's the other part of it. Dealing with a small local business, you call Combs Pest Control, you're going to talk to me. That phone rings on my hip or in my pocket every time you call. Either my wife or I are going to come out. Somebody with the last name Combs will be at your house when we come out. It's not going to be, we call it chucking the truck.
Right.
Not going to be the new guy hired. It'll be me with my 26 years experience, or my wife with her 6 years experience, and also my expertise to rely on. We take care of your home like you take care of your home. We treat you like family because you are family. This is not just a number, not just a customer. Our customers are our family. You know that firsthand, Bo. We've been taking care of your house for a little while, and we love what we do, and we love the people we do it with.
One thing that I've heard, we see a lot of bug killers and department hardware stores and other places. And one of the things that I heard, somebody told me, well, it's dangerous to use any of those yourself in your kitchen. You might not know what you're doing. What's your take on that?
I wholeheartedly agree with that. There's so much of what we use nowadays, or what we used to use 10, 12 years ago, even seasoned professionals, quote-unquote professionals, have overused and misused those products. And for that reason, we get them taken away from us. Same with the homeowner. It's much better. A lot of times I go to home, Dr. Bill, they've been trying for 6 months to take care of roaches or bed bugs or whatever it is. They've spent 6 or 7 times more trying to do it themselves they would if they just called me 6 months ago, and been a lot quicker that way. There's so many things in the chemicals we buy in the stores that you just don't know what's in them. You don't know.
And you don't want it around your food, right?
Right, exactly right. And you don't want to overuse it. We use precise measuring techniques to treat what we treat with and to buy it yourself. And the stuff in the store is not any good anyway. It says it'll kill bugs instantly. Sure, it will be sprayed on top of that bug. You can spray water on a bug to kill it. But to do it right, you need the training. You need to know how to use the equipment, the chemicals, and those sort of things. And to me, for Combs Pest Control, we treat 90+% of the time on the outside. I think I've been inside of Bo's house one time, all the times I've been out there, because bugs come from outside the house. There's only a couple of different kinds of bugs that live inside. The rest of them come back and forth across your foundation, your windows, your doors, at least every 24 hours. So spraying the outside, put a good layer of chemical out, some granules on the outside during the spring and summer. And those bugs come across that, they stop and clean themselves, they ingest the poison, they die pretty quickly. Rather than trying to spray them in a hiding place inside the house as you would with something you buy at Ace Hardware or Home Depot.
I think that's very good advice, because it's sort of homeowner's impulse is, I can take care of this myself. I've seen these things on the shelves, but there's a danger to the people in the house.
Very real danger. Even some folks try to take care of termites themselves, which to me doesn't make a bit of sense. Your home's your biggest investment. Homes are $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a piece now. You're going to spend $75 buying these little sticks of wood in Home Depot to protect your $500,000 investment. Probably not the smartest thing in the world. I had a guy just yesterday in Buford call me. He was doing some remodeling and found some termite damage behind his house, behind his baseboards. So we got looking inside the walls, and there was more than just a little bit of damage in there. Been in the house for 14, 15 years, never had anything done. But I told him then, there's two kinds of people in the world. People that have had termites will never go without termite control again, or people like him who this is their first experience with them, and they realize then how dangerous it is.
Well, one of the things I love about what we can do here on the show, Ron, is not just we know you can kill bugs, right? That's the end result. But I know you're about this, and I love learning from that experience and expertise. So, what's something somebody listening might need to know? I mean, for example, the new deal with bed bugs. Is there things we need to know about that that may prevent them, or just what's some education? Maybe the rider in the car or somebody listening on their laptop might say, "Hey, that'd be good to know. I've learned something from Ron. Now I trust him. I want him out to help me with this."
Ask if you're going to call somebody else or use somebody at Home Depot or Lowe's. Quiz them on their expertise. Mm-hmm. If they can't answer your question pretty quickly, you don't want to buy that stuff, or you don't want to use that company. The person using the chemical in your house should know exactly what it's for, exactly where to put it, and how frequent you're supposed to use it. Some chemicals, flea treatment, for instance, I can't do it more than every 7 to 10 days. Right. Any more than that, I'm putting too much in the ozone that's going to damage things. So know your stuff, and if you don't know your stuff, ask somebody else and make sure they know what they're doing before they treat anything inside or around the outside of your house.
And let's talk about preventive. What are some things we can do? You pick the pest, preventative, to prevent some things.
Great call. This time of year, we're getting close to spring. Mosquitoes. A mosquito trip to your house last year. That's probably the biggest thing we see problems with is just cleaning up all the standing water around the house for mosquitoes. Spare tires, bird feeders. Is literally a fourth of a bottle cap for an entire colony of mosquitoes to breed. If you think about that, a fourth of a bottle cap full of water for an entire colony. So if you've got a few drops laying around, you've got a feeding area there. We're not going to eliminate all those things. Sanitation is probably the biggest thing I could say. It's sanitation, maintenance of your yard, make sure things are nice and neat, and don't give the bugs more areas to harbor in than they already have.
That's all very good advice, and I think I would go back to what you're saying about don't be thinking that for a few bucks you can take care of a problem. That would be one of the costliest mistakes that you could make. I can do this myself. Well, do you do your own dental work? Do you do your own medical work? And your home, as you say, it's not only your biggest investment, it's a place where you want to feel safe and comfortable.
Exactly right. I read the labels of these things in the stores all the time. And while they may have the same active ingredient as what I use, mine may be 7.6% concentration. You may be dealing with 0.6% concentration. So you've got to to be effective with it, you've got to spray more volume, which of course, as you said earlier, Bill, is not safe at all. So if you're going to do it yourself, be smart about it. At least, and I don't mind giving advice. I love educating customers. They want to try to do it themselves. I'll educate you all the way until you decide you can't do it yourself. And then I'll step in there and do my job. So call somebody professional if you have to.
Well, Ron, one of the things I think is important is let's get to know you beyond the business a little bit. So you've been here local, North Georgia, for a long time. Any organization, calls, just for fun, things you just want to share? Hey, this is something that's an important part of Ron Combs and his family here in North Georgia, or Gainesville even?
It's a good question. I thank you for asking. I'm a past president of Gainesville Kiwanis Club. I just came from our meeting just a few minutes ago. I'm on the board of the Certified Pest Control Operators of Georgia, one of our two trade organizations. I'm past president there as well. I'm a certified trainer for the industry. So again, I can train new technicians in the industry. I've been on several charity boards of Inc., Humane Society of Northeast Georgia, Challenge Child, a few others. And we just try to we're so blessed in life. My wife and I and my family are so blessed in life. It's my job, my duty, my mission to give back however I can.
Very good. And we appreciate that. And that's one of the things we found so great about our area is a lot of the people out there, they're giving back in the community, investing in the community that kind of supported us. Right. Well, the person listening, this is kind of your invitation time. The person out there saying, hey, everybody's got bugs at the end of the day, some kind or another. What's the invitation from you, Ron, to reach out? Is it a call? Is it let me stop by? What are you thinking?
There's always a free inspection. I'm never going to charge for the first visit out there to diagnose your problem or diagnose how to fix your problem, whether it be termite, mosquito, wildlife, whatever it is. If you have a question or don't know what you're dealing with, give me a call. Let me use my 26 years of expertise to figure out what you've got, how to treat it, and how to do it safely, whether you're damaging your house, your home, or your family.
Very good. And best way to website, phone number, what do you think?
Website is combspestcontrolga.com. Phone number is 678-617-6951. You can text or call that number. Email address is ron@combspestcontrolga.com.
Ron Combs with Combs Pest Control. Thanks so much again for being on North Georgia Business Radio. Always have a fun time with you, man.
I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks. Well, Bill, we seem to be building a good show. Actually, we're constructing quite a fun show. Why don't we transition to our next guest?
That's your transition right there, Bo. Perfectly well stated. Okay. Very happy to welcome a guy whose golf swing I have admired and envied for as long as I can remember. He tells me he's been too busy to play golf. I hate to see people who are too busy to play golf, but okay. He's been very involved in his business. Mike Wofford with JMW Construction. Welcome, Mike. Happy to have you on North Georgia Business RadioX.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Glad to be here.
From what I can tell, you're not any newcomer to the construction business. How did you get into it?
Well, about 1975, I was invited by my grandfather and my dad to come to work during the summers and earn some money in the construction business, and it took off from there. So about 45 years ago or so.
Yeah, really started as a kid then.
Yeah.
And your company has a wide range of services. I see you're a full-service general contractor. You do everything from gutter cleaning to new home construction and even light commercial. You mentioned something about a huge remodeling that you did recently. What was that?
It was in Forsyth County. We did a large project that entails some additions to the house. The house was really not that impressive of a house, but
it became one.
They wanted some really nice, expensive finishes and things like that, and that's what we do. We give you what you want.
Well, Mike, when we run across somebody that can do a lot of things, because you've been doing it a long time, probably seen just about everything you could see, but you being able to do a lot of things versus what you really would love to do, is there a difference there? Are there two or three things you really, hey, this is our sweet spot and this is what I enjoy doing? Or?
Well, not really. We actually, I learned a lot of things from building my own houses in the past. And it was just a general rule that we, me and my wife, if we built a house, we had to do most of the work ourselves. So I learned to do a lot of things that I didn't know before, and because when I started out, it was just carpentry work.
Right.
And I picked up plumbing, electrical, trim work, things like that.
So we just put in a custom order for a house and just hand it over. I like that. Bill?
Well, something else in the housing business, I think often, I remember when I moved here 32 years ago. I moved here from central Georgia, and I was not aware of how much rain this place gets. In fact, I've said many times, Gainesville, Georgia should be renamed Rainsville. How much does weather impact your work? Seasonal changes, the ice, the snow, I know you can work during the heat. That doesn't really stop you. But what happens with construction with all of the sometimes days and days and even weeks of rain we get?
Well, it really depends on what kind of project is going on at the time. But if you were talking about, we ran into that problem at that large job we were talking about earlier. We had to start on the interior part of it because everything was too wet and muddy to plow the ground, so to speak. But it was delayed maybe 3 weeks or so because of the weather. So.
And there was not much else you could be working on during that time?
Well, as I said, we started on the inside of the house while we were waiting for the weather to break, and we were able to keep going that way. Sometimes we don't have an inside to start on, so it's just...
Well, every industry around here is impacted. I know, for example, the The new bridge that they're opening near where I live out on Cleveland Highway, that was supposed to have opened last week, but because of continued rains, no, it's going to open this Thursday.
Well, Mike, we were talking about custom specialties, that you do a lot of that. Now, for someone listening that might not really know what that means, is that for somebody that says, you know what, I want to just totally revamp my kitchen? What are some examples of some of these specialty custom things you're doing?
Well, a lot of what we do these days, people will call and say, I hate my cabinets, I hate my countertops, I hate my sink, I hate my appliances. So we go in and design, cabinets the way they want them, the way they like them. And, 20 years ago, cabinets were pretty much cabinets. They had a drawer on top and a door on the bottom. And now people are wanting, stacks of drawers and things like that. And we will design the kitchen the way they want it. In the cabinets, and we will either build them or buy them and install them. And we have countertop companies that do granite, or they do the quartz that's very popular now. And everybody wants undermount sinks and large big faucets that like commercial looking stuff.
So you're saying you've seen some fads come and go, different styles over time and periods. That's fascinating. One of the things too, I was thinking about as you were describing this. Have you noticed in different markets and economies what you work on shifts? You see what I'm saying? As far as maybe it's building in this, but if the housing's not going so much, or you see more decks. I mean, you see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, definitely. And time of year has something to do with that as well.
Even seasonal.
We just did a very large deck project that had an underneath finishing off as well, but I think they fell in love with the idea in October,
right.
And the weather was getting ready to change, and by the time we got it done, it was just about too bad weather to stay out there on it. So,
right, they had to wait till the next season.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked residential. Do you do commercial? And if so, what type of commercial projects do you do?
I am licensed by the state of Georgia to do residential and commercial construction. I actually like commercial construction. So what that's pretty much limited to is, like, I believe it's 3 stories or less. Mm-hmm. So I can't build skyscrapers yet.
Yet. I like that, yet.
So, we can do, general, like, finishing out offices, painting, even framing and cabinetry, whatever.
How big a workforce do you have, or do you have some full-time and you subcontract?
I subcontract a fair amount. I have found that most of my subcontractors are really good, and depending on how busy things are, I can't get them at a time when I need them. So that's why I do so many things well.
That speaks to their quality, right?
It does.
Well, I want to step back, Mike, for a second. When you were talking about you're getting people coming to you with this vision, I've got this idea. I hate this, that. I saw this. I love that. What's that process for? You're saying you kind of mock it up, it sounds like, and then when it's what they want, you build it. Is that something that's sketched out, or is technology that somebody's doing on a computer? What is that process? I'm just curious there.
It depends on the person's vision. Some people can see what they want,
right,
and some people can describe it to the T,
right,
and I can go with that. Some people need a little help,
right.
Sometimes we'll draw a picture of what we're doing for them. I do also have a design program that I can do layouts and elevations and things of that nature, and get everything that they want so that they can actually see it.
Get a visual model,
right?
Like that.
He's reminding me of an office I was in one time where they were doing some secretarial work. And they had a sign there that maybe Mike can relate to. It gave a price, and it said, "This is if we do the job without you here." Then there was a higher price if you're here while we're doing it. And then the third higher price was much higher if you tell us how to do it.
Exactly.
I like that. Well, Mike, other things. So you've been doing this a long time, right? You started with your dad, right? Was that, how many years ago was that now?
It was 1975.
Holy cow. So that's a while. So you've been doing a long time. What, anything as far as biggest lesson learned or biggest thing you've seen over the years that's just been helpful today in doing things right and being successful?
I learned early on that I didn't like builders. So I became one,
Right.
and but I can tell you that the people who subcontract from me and supply me materials are they never have to worry about getting paid
Right.
or whatever. So.
We see that a good bit as people actually fill a role because they weren't satisfied with what they saw in that role before. That's fascinating. Another thing. So I know in pre-show, I know you share a love of golf with Bill, even though you haven't had time to do it in a while. Anything else as far as hobbies, things around town, just things that are part of you and what you do? Just work.
I just work a lot. I'm actually building a garage onto my house. The house has only been built for 2 years, but I poured a slab knowing that I was going to build a garage one day, and just all of a sudden came up, and we decided to.
It's time. It's time. What was that, Joy? He likes his grandkids?
He loves his grandkids.
Okay, so that's a good hobby, I guess. So that's kind of cool too, Bill, having a builder at home, so because you can always have projects to work on. But I'm guessing it's like anything else.
Talk about a to-do list.
Yeah,
My gosh. Or a honey-do list. Yes, honey-do, build the garage.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, so for somebody out there listening, they're saying, you know what, we've been talking about this project, this addition, whatever this is that we've been thinking we might want to do in the future. What's the best way to reach out to you or find out more?
I have a cell phone number that's listed. I'm on the web at www.JMW Construction Co LLC.
Okay.
.vpweb.com. That's through Vistaprint
Okay.
web, and I also have a Facebook page. It's JMW Construction Company LLC.
Okay.
Or you can just call me, and it rings through to my cell phone. It's like Ron was talking about. It's and I will come out to see your project and to speak with you and give you ideas, whatever you need.
Sometimes that's the best way, just that face-to-face. I know it.
Bo, I think we got a perfect combination today. Somebody who'll build a house, and then somebody who'll get
kill
the pest
stuff
out of it. Yes.
There you go. I like it.
Good
That's what I was
combination.
thinking. That's what I was thinking. Mike, one last question as we kind of wind up is, most of your referrals or business, is that coming from other people in your industry, or is it more people have heard about you and reaching out, or what is a combination of things? Because we might be sending you business you don't want. I don't know.
90 to 95% of what I do is by word of mouth.
Yep.
I did actually get a call yesterday and went and saw a project today from a person who found me on the Better Business Bureau. But
Yeah, no. So when we hit the big time, Bill, we'll have Mike build us a studio to our design standards. How about
Well,
that?
you did a pretty good job building this one yourself, and I noticed you never called on me, and that was one of your wisest decisions you made.
Well,
I'm not much in the way of building.
Well, I think you're right, Bill. I think we had a great show today. We talked about building. We talked about killing stuff. Great guest, Mike Wofford, Ron Combs. Thanks so much for being with us on North Georgia Business Radio X.
Thank you.
And as always, Bill, had a lot of fun.
Much fun and great information.
See you next time right here on North Georgia Business Radio X.